all right, about your boundaries. Okay.
Yeah, but first let's create. So before when we were talking before we get into the boundaries. I love playing with your gray hair. Sorry. So
it's so, did y'all see that, man? Oh my god,
it's so sexy to me. I love him.
Praying
and
man,
it's sexy to me. I do. So all right. So when we're talking about communication in marriage with boundaries, right? We're gonna first we're gonna I'm gonna list the things and then we're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
First, let's create the safe space.
Okay.
Right.
As
we create the safe space, let's ask permission to be honest. Like, hey, you know how we do. We go, hey, babe, can I be honest, or honestly speaking, or something like that. That goes back to the communication that we was talking about, the 5 levels of the personality of communication. Like we were talking about passive aggressive, and assertive. An assertive person usually is very honest, and some people think that is brutally honest, right? So the next thing is then be honest. So we're going to ask permission to be honest, and then we're going to be honest, like, hey, I don't like the way that you fold the towels. Hey. Boom, boom. Oh, sorry.
Family. What's going on?
Hey. What's happening, guys?
Welcome to your Authentic Love Marriage Moment with Chaz
and Alicia Cohen's, guys.
And hey,
the Authentic Love Coaches.
Hey, guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning into last week's let me get it right. I'm too excited. Thank you for tuning in to last week's video where we were interviewed by Real to Real 360 podcast.
Yeah, hey, those brothers. Shout out to you guys.
Shout out to Joshua Mel and K Wise for hey,
Stephen Street, baby.
Interviewing us and wanting to put us on their platform to really share our purpose with their audience. So, hey, you brothers, hey, man, thank you so much. Okay. So now we are back to our regular schedule session for tonight. Okay. And guess what?
What?
We're still talking about communication in marriage.
Oh my God, yeah. It just keeps going, and then this.
Yeah, it keeps going. This is season 2, and this is episode 3. Where we're still talking about communication in marriage. Yes. All right. But here's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And go ahead and give it to him, babe.
Well, we're going to be talking about communication in marriage and how to communicate boundaries. How to communicate those boundaries in marriage. Because sometimes we'll just assume a boundary, and then we don't actually communicate it, and then it becomes an issue, and then that issue boils over into a huge argument, disagreement, to the point where if we can't communicate on that level, why are we still here? Why we continue in marriage? And it goes, and it's spilled over to something unnecessary. And that's the reason why have those boundaries, especially for us as a blended family. We had to communicate those boundaries and increase those boundaries. And, it wasn't a manual. It's not a book on how to be married and how to be married or how to be married in a blended family. Right. We had to continuously talk about the boundaries and increase the boundaries.
So when we talk about boundaries, right, we have to consider rules and regulations in the relationship, if you will, if you want to use that, right? We're used to rules and regulations because we had rules in school. Well, first of all, before school, we had rules with our parents. Okay.
Time went to bed.
We had rules in the classroom at school. Okay. We have rules and regulations on jobs. Even like us, we have our own business. There are certain guidelines according to the state that you live in. To have a business, you have to abide by the rules and the guidelines of the state that you live in order to have a business. Okay. So in essence, rules are boundaries.
Right.
Okay. And what we're going to be talking about is asking permission for honesty. All right. About your boundaries. Okay.
Yeah. But first, let's create before we get into the boundaries, I love playing with your gray hair. Sorry. So,
did y'all see that, man? Oh my God,
it's so sexy to me. I love him. Praying and it's sexy to me. I do. So, all right. So when we're talking about communication in marriage with boundaries, right? We're gonna I'm gonna list the things, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
First, let's create the safe space.
Okay.
Right.
As
we create the safe space, let's ask permission to be honest. Like, hey, you know how we do. We go, hey, babe, can I be honest, or honestly speaking, or something like that. That goes back to the communication that we were talking about, the 5 levels of the personality of communication. Like we were talking about passive aggressive, and assertive. An assertive person usually is very honest, and some people think that is brutally honest, right? So the next thing is then be honest. So we're going to ask permission to be honest, and then we're going to be honest. Like, hey, I don't like the way that you fold the towels, because we had a couple that the issue was like, no, the way you fold the dish towel after you finish washing dishes or something like that. But keep your emotions intact while your spouse is being honest.
Oh yes.
Yes. And then while you keep your emotions intact, then go into detective spouse, where ask more questions, more detailed questions. Okay, so you don't like the way I fold the towel after I finish washing dishes. You know what? Why is that an issue? And we come to find out that it was the issue because she didn't like the way that her mom, every time mom did, she had fold the towel, and if you didn't fold the towel a certain way, the kitchen's not clean, something like that. So it was that, and then repeat and ask again, and just get build those boundaries and keep going.
And that's great, babe.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. What I would like to convey to our audience is, when you create boundaries in your relationship, okay, that means you're creating structure in your relationship, right? Your relation is built around structure and respect, okay, for one another, for each spouse. Because if you don't have boundaries, and if you don't voice the things that you don't like, the things that you're not going to tolerate, some of those things that are just going to irritate you. Now, a lot of things, might be a little bit out of the ordinary, but hey, you have to have that respect for your spouse, to respect the things that they're concerned about
and that they're expressing to you.
Okay. One of the number one things is when us husbands address other females, right? Okay, that's a boundary for our wives, okay, on how you address them, okay? If it's someone, let's just say, for example, if you're going to a church, or you're going to a big meeting, or if there's a family gathering, okay, the wife is going to look at how the husband embrace other females, okay, that's in the family, in-laws, those are boundaries. So the wife needs to address the things that she's not going to like, or what she sees that you do. Now, where we go wrong at is when, that ain't nothing, when we take them and what they feel for granted.
Or you downplay what
you downplay it, right?
So you're like, hey, why you feel that way? Then that's gonna make her get in her emotions, and then she gonna be in defense mode.
And then for some husbands, it's the same way for when their wife or their significant other addresses other men, right? I don't like the way you did that. That was a little bit too much. You're revealing too much. You went in deep on that hug, right? It could be various things, but then the wife could be like, "Oh, that's just we've been childhood friends.
That's just my friend. Yeah, we've been childhood friends for a long way." And then your husband looking at him, how he hugged you, and then the hand slid down or something like that. So you like, no, that's it. But you never really paid attention to it, and then he brings it to your attention, and then he's like, "Oh, you jealous of my childhood friend?"
And it might be a little uncomfortable at first when these boundaries are addressed to your significant other. It's going to be a little uncomfortable because of things that you were used to doing. Okay, a lot of us are, in that sense, are free spirited. Hey, how you doing? This and that. We're free spirited in some of those things. Okay, certain conversations with your homeboys, certain conversations with your homegirls, right? When you start letting a little bit of them, the old saying goes, right? We can peep inside the window. We can look inside the window, but we can't see inside the house. Something like that, right?
That's the first I heard that.
Okay, well.
I like it though.
But there is a saying, okay, if I can't even think about it right now at the moment, but you don't want to involve your friends, your family members inside the business affairs of your home, right? Because it creates a lot of tension and stress on the family to where they can look at things and form an opinion,
Right.
and they can whisper little things in your ear to
Which
cause some negative emotions that's in your household that's not supposed to be there.
Right, and then it can also change your the way that you feel towards your spouse too. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, so it changes the energy, and you don't know why. So that's what we call, keep people out of your holies of holies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like people, like you can associate with someone, but everybody is not meant to come in your house. Like you everybody's not your friend. So you have co-workers, you have, distant associates and stuff like that, and you have family and you have friends. So though the family are the ones that come into the holies of holies. Some of them may not be invited. Some of them cannot be included in your holies of holies. But know who you want to invite in your close-knit inner circle between you and your spouse, because you do not want a boundary drawn between you and your spouse, and you know what I'm saying? So you really don't want that. So, with that being said, be conscientious of who you let inside your home, into your holies of holies.
And we talked a little bit about this when we talked about blended families.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, we did.
A lot of the rules of boundaries have to be in place when there's a blended family, okay? Because there is an outside person. That person is the biological parent, right? The biological parent that you spent time with, or if you were married, the ex-spouse or whatever, that's a part of the blended family. It has to be boundaries there,
right.
Especially with the children.
Right, but also in our blended family, what we did as a blended family, it wasn't a manual. Okay, like we said before, we learned those boundaries, and those boundaries happened as life went on with us being married and us blending our family. So you might have to come back to one boundary that worked for year 1 through 2 may not work year 3 through 7, because things change, we grow, and people mature, and the kids are getting older, we're getting mature, and so you might have to come back to the table and say, hey, you know what? Let's relook at the boundaries we have drawn, because guess what? It's election season right now, right?
Right.
But before the election season, it was bad. Everybody was redrawing the lines. You know what I'm saying? So for good or bad purposes, hey, I'll leave that there. It's not a political show. So, but to be honest with you, you might have to always, 9 times out of 10, come back to the drawing board to redraw those boundaries.
Now, that was great, babe. What she said, but there was one boundary that we have all heard, and us that are parents now, we still use.
Oh Lord, what is it?
And it's when it's in reference to the children. And this one boundary we all know by heart, even if I didn't know the other saying, but I know this one. And the saying goes, what go on in this house stays in this house.
What goes on in this house.
And I really think that is going to be one boundary that's going to last for a lifetime, right? Because here's the thing. When the children start talking about what goes on in the household, it tears up the household, especially when you're talking to an ex-spouse, or that's the biological parent or the biological parent.
And that's so right. You're right, babe.
So when it's important that we teach our children that boundary. Okay, what goes on here stays in here.
Right. And it goes on to say, what you just said is real funny. I was looking at social media, and then it was two couples sitting there like watching TV. So it was like, you know, when one of the little kids spent the night in your house, and then she was like, "Guess what? My mama went to jail."
Exactly. Yeah.
Right,
yeah. And she was no more than 3 years old.
You know, and Gabby said, and
Yeah.
they was like, and guess what? She can't come and stay with us. And then, you know, some kids have to be taught
They are
that.
picking it up. They're picking up things faster than we did when we were kids, right? They soak up things a lot faster, and they're sponges to where they can comprehend and remember things a whole lot faster nowadays than we did back in the day.
Right.
So it's best that if they can comprehend, it's time to establish boundaries, right? That's when children, but in reference to marriages, right?
Same thing.
The same thing has to be established even in the dating stage. When you find out that this is the person that you really want to spend the rest of your life with,
right?
Okay, there needs to be some boundaries that's put in place,
right?
Especially when it's in reference to addressing men, addressing women, because you have to work with them on your job, right? Even if you have a business, you have clients, okay, that just might like your swag a little bit too much, all right? But hey, from the start, boundaries has to be put in place, right? Okay? And you have to communicate that to your spouse in order to show, one, respect, and also to establish safety in your household, okay? Because boundaries are not a bad thing.
No.
It's just that we have to talk about them, because here again, and as I say every show, this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, okay? And you want to make sure that they're okay and you're okay. Right. Because you don't want to have structure and just anything can seep into your relationship and potentially destroy a good thing. Okay? So, any final words?
Wow. Hey, don't forget
to authenticate your marriage. And by you authenticating your marriage, okay, again, right, make sure that you discuss the conversations and communicate to your spouse with no fears and no high emotions or regret. Release the fear and explain exactly what's on your heart to your spouse, so they can gain an understanding and education on how you really feel.
Right, and that's how you authenticate your marriage.
That's how you authenticate.
By being authentic and creating a safe space.
Right. So this is your authentic love marriage moment with Chaz and Alicia. Again, as I say every week, right? Hit us up on YouTube, okay? If you're watching our videos on YouTube, hit that share button and subscribe. And hey, tell a friend that Authentic Love Marriage Moment with Chaz and Alicia is live. Hit us up on Facebook, okay? Like, comment, and share, all right? Tell a friend that we're on, right? Tell them that we're on. Tell them that we're live. And if you want to, hey, I'd like for somebody to at least comment, okay? Put a comment in the comment section on what you would like to hear us talk about, right? I know we talk about a lot of things, but if you're watching and there's something that you would like for us to talk about, hey, let us know. Give us a few topics to talk about in our season 2, because the season 2 is for you, all right? We're doing what we're called to do, which is talk to you about marriage. But hey, help us out. If there's something that you would like to know, hey, hit us up, let us know, and we will give it to you from our coaching perspective to you in these videos. Thank you so much. And hey, guys, listen, you all be safe out there. Have a great rest of the week. and we will see you next week live on your Authentic Love Marriage Moment with Chaz and Alicia. Be safe, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.